Grammy Tammy. I am totally new to the video game, so I hope you'll bear with me and be patient with me because it is all totally new. Today, as my very first video, I'm going to show you how to make my purple pow pow chow chow. A lot of you know a southern favorite is the chow chow that you put on your beans or your greens or any of that good stuff. And this stuff just makes it even better. This is my purple pow pow chow chow. As you can see, it's really pretty and purple. And the pow pow part is because it's so hot. You're gonna need a 6-inch-ish head of purple cabbage. If you don't use purple cabbage, you don't get the purple for the purple pow pow. Very important. Have 2 red onions, which to me look more purple than red. We're going to put those in there. Of course, you can use any kind of onion you like. I just thought these would add to the color and they'll have a good flavor. The wonderful thing about chow chow is you can put just about anything from your garden in it. I happened to find these giant cucumbers left on the vine. So we're going to use everything but the ends and the seeds inside. We're going to leave the skin on. I have 2 of those. And as you can see, they're very large. I also bought some beautiful bell peppers to go in as well. Now, like I said, anything can go. You can use squash, you can use green tomatoes, you can use red tomatoes, you can use any kind of tomatoes. I have a very mixed bag of tomatoes here. I cut all of my tomatoes, except the Romas, off of the stems because the cutworms were getting them really bad. So I have all of these tomatoes and you can see they are not perfect. This is semi-ripe and it has a bad place, which I'll just cut out. This one's a little wrinkly, but that's all right. It'll work just fine. I have some Romas, so variety. And then, of course, for the pow pow, we got to have some hot. So I have my little Tabasco peppers that I grew. I did not grow jalapenos this year, but I plan to next year. And I have 7 jalapenos here and about 1.5 cups-ish of the Tabasco peppers. You can use whatever kind of peppers you want. These work well. So, I'm going to get started chopping. I will show you bits and pieces of that, but I won't make you suffer through the whole time. So, we'll get started. I will show you this chopping in a minute. All right, here we go. Some people like to use a food processor. I prefer to do it all by hand. That way I know the size that I'm getting and I won't have any big chunks left in there. It's just the way I like to do it. So I'm going to continue on chopping this up and I will show you the result when I'm all finished. Okay, so you see I've got the whole thing chopped up and it almost filled my bowl, so I'm going to have to get a larger bowl after I cut a few more things up, but we'll go ahead and start cutting the onions next. I forgot to mention to you at the beginning of this video, this is a 2-day process. After we get all the vegetables chopped up, we will salt them down with about 1/4 cup of salt and get it all mixed in there really good. The salt will draw out the water, or a lot of the moisture, not all, but a lot of the moisture from all of the different vegetables. So, and then it will sit overnight on the counter. It does not have to be refrigerated. And then tomorrow we will cook it down with some spices, and it'll be ready to put in cans. Jars, actually. So I'm going to chop this onion, and I'll be back with you as soon as I've gotten this complete. Well, there we go. Got the onions chopped and added to the cabbage. It's really pretty. So we're just going to go ahead and proceed to cutting up the bell peppers, which won't take long at all. So I'll talk at you a little bit while I do this first one, just so you can see the way that I do the peppers. I know everybody has their own technique. This is just mine. I like to peel it away from the seed pod, like that, so that you, I may cut a little of the side off here. Pull that little skin out. You don't have to get all of the seeds, it really doesn't matter. Going to leave all of the seeds in the hot peppers anyway, so you might as well not worry too much with the bell pepper seeds either. So I'm just going to continue chopping, and I'll get back with you as soon as I get all 3 of these bell peppers cut up. See you shortly. So now we're getting some pretty color going. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Turn on the light here and give a little more light there. There. Beautiful. All right, now we're going to start cutting up tomatoes. I'll be back. Okay, as you can see, my bowl is getting pretty full. So I've decided not to use all of those red tomatoes, and I'm just going to try to use these green ones, maybe 4 or 5 large size. These are all small to medium, so we're going to say that about 4 of this, if you put these 3 together and made it 1 tomato, about 4 of that size. So I'm going to continue cutting that, and I will just talk to you while I do that, so you can just see the little process I got going on here. I cut the bloom end off. The stem end, I should say. That was the stem end. Again, you don't have to be precise with the size. I just don't want any large chunks. So, there you go. I'm gonna do so that 1 plus these 2 we're going to count as 1 large. We're going to count that as 1 large, and we're going to count this as 1 large. So about that many green tomatoes is what I'm putting into this chow chow. I'll be back when I get those cut up and we will do the cucumbers, and then after that, the peppers. Okay, so as you see, I've gotten the green tomatoes cut up and added in, and it just looks really, really pretty with all the different colors. Green and purple I love together anyway, so there you go, isn't that pretty? I'm going to start working on these cucumbers that I've already cut these ends off of, and I thought about grating them, which is what I would normally do. I just grate it down to the seed, but for this video I'm just going to pull the seeds out and chop them up. I'll just show you how I do that. Cut them all in half, and we're just going to take a spoon and go down through there and just get that seed part from the middle out, so that all we have is the meat and the peel. And we're going to do that to all of these, and it won't take long. And then I will come back and show you the finished product there. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this one up so you'll see how it really doesn't matter. You don't want too big of chunks, or the salt won't draw out enough of the juices. So, you know, you don't want big chunks. So this is how I do it. And this works just fine. And again, if you should get a cucumber seed in with the batch, it won't hurt a thing. Just don't want them all in there because they create a lot of moisture. And that's what we're trying to get rid of before we make our chow chow. So I'm just going to continue and cut up these cucumbers, and I'll be back shortly and we'll do some peppers. Okay, so as you see, I reverted back to grating the cucumber because it was just so wet that I thought that it would need less mass for each piece to get all that moisture gone. But it's really starting to look really pretty, and it smells wonderful. So now we move on to our peppers. And I have gloves to wear. Some people don't bother with that, but there's nothing worse than wiping your eyes or your nose or your lips with pepper juice remaining on your fingers. It will set you on fire. So I'm all gloved up, and here we go. And I'm going to use the whole jalapeno without the stem, of course. We're just going to cut it in quarters, long ways, or almost quarters anyway. And then just little thin slices. And no, I'm not one of those chefs that can chop, 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 chop super fast. I would like to keep my digits. So that's how I do it. I just kind of go back and crunch them up a little bit more and put them in a bowl. And so I'm going to repeat that process through all of these jalapenos. And then I will chop, chop, chop up my little Tabasco peppers. And I will see y'all back here as soon as I get that done. So here we go. I've gotten everything chopped up, and as you see, my bowl is very full. Very, very full. I've got maybe 1.5 inches space from the top left here. So this is a 1/4 cup of pickling salt. And so I'm just going to sprinkle some over the top here. And then we're going to mix it in. We're just going to do that over and over until all of the salt is used up. All those colors are so pretty, and I really wish you could smell this, but tomorrow when I start cooking it, that's when I really wish that we could have smell-o-vision, because it smells so good when it starts cooking. Gonna have several different spices and seasonings going in tomorrow when we put it in the cook pot. Actually, we'll blend all the seasonings together with some vinegar and some sugar and let that boil for a little bit, and then we'll add our vegetables and we'll let them boil for a little bit. And I'll give you more of the directions as I go tomorrow. Just giving you kind of a breakdown on how this is going to happen. So that's all of the salt. And I'm just going to give it a really good mix now. Keep going round and round this big old bowl. So I guess this bowl is probably about, I don't know, maybe 15 inches by 7 inches. That's a guess. I haven't measured. Let's see how much we've got going here. Okay. So now all I'm going to do is put a lid on this and leave it sitting overnight. And tomorrow we will finish this off. So I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Hi there. Welcome back to Grammy Tammy'S place. I am going to start working on this Chow. As you know, where we left off yesterday, we had salted down all of our chopped up vegetables, and the bowl was almost completely full. You see how much it has reduced overnight. And so we're just going to strain that off, rinse it off, and let it sit and drain while we get our vinegar and sugar and spices mixed up. So I'm going to drop you down so that you can see the rinsing process. You'll be able to see every step I take, and let's get going. I'm just going to drop you down. There we go. And I'm just going to cup by cup so that I don't dump this out into the sink. But you can see how pretty and purple the juice is in the bowl. I know that yesterday's video was very chopped up, but that was due to all of the chopping. Haha. I just didn't want you to have to sit and watch the whole thing, and I didn't want to fast forward through the whole thing either, because that would just been a whole lot of video time. So we're just gonna Continue to scoop this out. May have to get another colander. I am going to get another colander. I'll be right back. Rinsing, and in order not to waste any of those vegetables, I'm going to rinse out the bowl and the cup over the vegetables. Now, excuse me. Gonna give them a really good rinse. Same thing over here. Here out of the way. Be sure they are very, very well rinsed. Okay, we're going to set these, well, we're going to leave these sitting here in the sink, and then I'm going to move you over to the pot, and I'll be right back. Okay. So while that drains, we're going to get our vinegar mixture going. I have 3.5 cups of just white, regular distilled vinegar. Excuse me, that is 3.5 cups. And then we're going to add to that 1.5 cups of white sugar. Just regular old white granulated sugar. Nothing special. Stir that in. Going to add 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of ground mustard. And as you can see, I've got them all divided up in there so you can see each one. Just a teaspoon of each. Stir that in. We're also going to add a teaspoon each of celery seed and a yellow mustard seed. Stir that in as well. And here we have 1/2 of a teaspoon of ground cloves, and 2 tablespoons of red pepper flakes, the red crushed pepper flakes. I'll stir that all in. We're also going to need 1 tablespoon, no, wrong, 2 tablespoons of pickling spice. This is just Ball kosher dill pickling mix. Works just great. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons of that. 1, 2. Mix that in. We also need 4 ounces of Worcestershire, which I did not get ready ahead of time. And I use a shot glass. Well, it's 2 ounces. Okay. So that's our mix. Now all we need to do is get it to boiling. Okay, so our mixture has been boiling for 10 minutes now. So we can add our vegetables. This stuff will open up the sinuses, let me tell you. Start adding our vegetables into the pot gently. As much as we can. Give it a good stir. Get that vinegar mixture all mixed in good with it before we start boiling it in. Okay, so now we're going to bring this back up to a boil and let it simmer for another 10 full minutes. And then we're going to turn off the heat and we'll be back when that time comes. Hi again. So we're back. This goodness has been sizzling for about 10 minutes now. I'm just turning off the heat. I'm going to give it a stir, and then I will show you what's in the pot here. And then we'll move down and start putting the jars. I've got my jars, they were already sterilized and they were in my oven staying warm. I've got my water bath going over here for once I get the jars filled. I'll stick them in there one by one, and I'll just water bath can them for 10 minutes, maybe more. I usually go about 12 or 13 just to be sure. So I'm going to move this over and move you over, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got a flashlight out to add extra light so you can see the pretty color. And we're just going to start filling our jars. I'll set this over to the side. I'll get a couple of jars out and I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I've got my lids. I've got my, well, these are the rings. I've got my lids in warm water. I have a small bowl of vinegar over here that I'm going to wet my paper towel in for cleaning off the rims. Vinegar works really good for all this sugary sweet stuff, anything that's got sugar in it especially. Sometimes I'll use water, but most of the time I use vinegar. Okay, we're just going to start putting this in our jars up to a 1/4 inch headspace. And I just use the rim of this funnel as the guide for that. You want to de-bubble, go all around the edge, all the way down to the bottom. And just pat that all in there. We'll set this to the side. Gonna clean off that rim. Put our lid on. Go set this in my water bath canner. Well, I'll go ahead and do the second one before I do that. De-bubble. Get it all nice and even in there. Wipe that rim down really well. There's another one. And then we're just going to repeat this process until I have no more to put in my canner. And this is my canner. I'm calling a canner. It's just a big pot of water with a little rack in the bottom to keep the jars from jumping around too much. I will show you that when I get the canner full. Be right back. Okay, so now I've gotten all of the Chow Chow, Purple Pow Pow, Chow Chow in the jars, and they are in the water bath canner, which is heating up to a boil. Not really a water bath canner, it's just a big old pot of water. It works just the same. So, we're gonna let that boil. Once it comes to a full boil, we'll count 10 minutes, maybe 12, and then we'll turn it off and take the jars out. And I'll be back again. Alrighty then. It's been about 12 minutes of full rolling boil on both of these pots. As you see, I had to pull out a second one because I had too many jars. So I'm going to start taking these out. I'll show them to you, a couple of them, and then we'll see you next time. it is. Isn't that pretty? Okay. We'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful evening.